Yes. There are scenarios where customers are quite, if it's a natural disaster, there are some sort of levels of flexibility.
Sure.
And we just have to understand that. But just back to the topic from sustainability and carbon footprint, the transport industry is obviously heavily involved with that scenario, and there's a couple of options out there in terms of electric vehicles as one. Drones is, I think we sort of talked about that earlier in the day. The electric vehicles are starting to make a presence in the Australian market. There are certain contracts which are now making it mandatory for electric vehicles. I don't know if I'm allowed to say IKEA, for example. That's if you were successful in the IKEA, they would want a certain percentage of their fleet, if not all of their vehicles, being electric. And there is starting to become a push for that. When we're dealing with courier work, there is no regulation, basically. There is in New South Wales, in terms from a driver pay perspective, but there isn't any sort of ruling on what type of vehicle, how old the vehicle should be and what type of vehicle should be. So, like, my view is until the market is prepared to pay, because obviously electric vehicles are new, and compared to, a 2012 Ford Transit van, it's more expensive to run that vehicle. But however, will the customer pay more for that electric vehicle compared to the Ford Transit van, which runs quite well? I'm not at the view we've got to that point yet of critical mass and for it to become affordable for Joe the driver to go buy a truck, and to make it sustainable for that person, and also for the customer to be happy for that. So that's a challenge for the industry. Like, I think for us to make significant headway, there possibly would need to be some sort of legislative intervention for that to take place. That's what my view is. Something you mentioned a little bit earlier was drone deliveries. I think in certain applications it could work, regional areas, remote deliveries. I just cannot see drones carrying tiles and delivering
steel bars. Absolutely, yes.
Flying down.
That would be a challenge.
Street and accidentally dropping or whatever. I just can't see it happening.
Understand.
In the immediate
possibly.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's just so I think there's always going to be a place for humans to be involved with that actual last mile activity. Just because of the nature of
the business,
what we're doing and that sort of thing. But yeah, that's probably my take on the future of